conversations with the world's top drummers in the most extreme genres. This episode is brought to you by Los Cabos Drumsticks, Canada's #1 choice for drumsticks. They provide the wood you need to make the beats you deserve. Los Cabos Drumsticks. Now with your host, Corey Hopping.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the We're Talking Drums podcast. I am your host, Corey Hoffing. Got a banger of an episode for you today. Before we hop into episode 81, just want to let you guys know, this being the 81st episode, there is 80 other episodes of the podcast. So if this is your first time listening, then go check out our previous episodes. We had on some incredible guests in the past. We also have a YouTube channel, so if you are just listening to this, that is fine, but you can also watch this episode in 4K. So head on over to our YouTube channel, drop a sub, and leave a comment with your favorite part about this episode. Besides all that, we do have a Patreon as well, and our Patreon members are the absolute best. I thank you very, very, very much. It is only $2 a month to subscribe to our Patreon, and there is a free tier as well. Okay, so head on over, sub for free, sub for the $2 Canadian, whatever you please. You get all the episodes early, and you get some fantastic little treats, like our previous guest had offered up a free snare sample for all you drum recording nerds and everything out there. I know that I was really excited about this. So a free TCI file of a snare used on his band Glory Hammer's last album. So we will be having a lot more giveaways like that on our Patreon as they come. So make sure you head on over to patreon.com/We're Talking Drums today and sign up. Now, if you choose not to do that, that is fine. No pressure. But what is absolutely 100% free, and most of you already use it, is the social medias. And I greatly appreciate when you guys share these episodes with your friends. So head on over to our Instagram. That's at We're Talking Drums. And you can find us on Facebook as well. Drop a follow and a like, and share these episodes with your friends, and make sure to tag us and our guests as well when you do. It is greatly appreciated, and it helps really spread the word about the podcast and get it out there. Okay, all that out of the way, all that shameless self-promotion, we're going to get into this week's episode, okay? This week, episode 81 with Mike Caputo. Okay, this is his second time on the pod. It was so awesome to get to meet up with him. I was touring through Houston and hit him up ahead of time, and we spent the whole day together. It was amazing. We got burritos and just hung out and talked drums and everything. Like, he is such an amazing person, and we filmed this episode and recorded it in our bus. It got a little toasty in there, so you might see us sweating a little bit as the episode goes on. But we really got to talk a lot about touring, a lot about staying in shape on your kit while on the road, because it can be difficult to get enough sleep and exercise and everything to stay in shape there. And we also talked about his experience filling in for the band Jobforacowboy. Legendary Jobforacowboy, and their reunion comeback appearance at the Blue Ridge Music Festival. So if you want to hear all about how that went and his experience on how he got that gig in the first place, which I'm sure a lot of you are curious about, how do these drummers get these amazing opportunities? Stay tuned, and make sure you listen to the full episode and you will get all your questions answered. Okay, let's get into this episode. Here is my conversation with Mike Caputo. Mike Caputo, welcome back to the We're Talking Drums podcast. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm great. Thanks for having me back, man. I loved it the first time, so.
Yeah, well, I met you in Toronto that time, and now you're meeting me in Houston.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
We got the trade-off going.
Yeah, and first off, I just want to thank you for this wonderful Monster.
Oh, it's no problem at all.
Making my day. This podcast is not sponsored by Monster,
It's not, but we love them.
We do.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. I love my caffeine.
Some sipping ASMR.
There you go. Man, I need caffeine in the morning though.
Oh yeah, same.
Like I try not to have it within the first hour to 2 hours of the day.
Okay, I'm the total opposite. As soon as I wake up, I need it. I switch to only coffee unless I have something that I like, something that I have to do during the day like this or something like that requires me to leave the house and like be up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. For me, I heard from some science nerd dude that if you have caffeine right away, right as soon as you wake up, that it actually leads to you burning out harder and faster during the day. But if you wait an hour and a half, because of like the way that the levels in your body like add up and stuff like that, you're not allowing your fatigue to actually grow. You're like stunting it because caffeine just like stops that from happening. Yeah, it's like weird science nerd stuff. So I just listened to him and it seems to work okay. But I had a coffee as soon as I woke up this morning.
I have to try that out then. So, because normally the first thing I do when I wake up is I roll out of bed and I start the coffee maker. So. Yeah. And then I just drink as soon as it's ready, coffee.
As soon as
it's done.
Yeah, right from the pot.
Couldn't be if I'm just too lazy to figure out how to like program it to be done as soon as I wake up. So Yeah. And it also helps I don't really set an alarm. I just kind of wake up when I wake up. So
yeah, I always had coffee makers that you can set it and forget it, but
mine can, but it's just the fact that I don't have a set time that I wake up right now. Yeah. So I really should. So that would probably put me on a nice little schedule.
Yeah,
so
then you'd actually have a schedule.
I should do that.
Like I'm on tour schedule, so it's a disaster.
Oh, yeah.
Like I do all the night drives because I want to say I'm the only sober one in the band, but like the guys don't really drink all that much, but I do all the night drives because my schedule, even at home, I'm up till 4 a.m. Every day. So it works out great. But then we're up at like 7, 8 o'clock every day because sun comes up and this bus gets roasty. So you're up anyways. Yeah. So yeah, not sleeping a lot. Lots of caffeine is needed throughout the day.
Yeah. I'm kind of the opposite. My schedule when I'm on tour is so when I'm home, I'm up until like 2, 3 in the morning. Yeah. And then when I get on tour, I wake up whenever I wake up. And, usually it's, I get bumped and then we hit a bump and I wake up and then I'm awake.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I go to bed pretty much like after we're done loading. Like
I
load up pretty much. Yeah. I mean, I'll hang out for a sec, but like I just want to go to bed. Like, I'm just tired from the day and just... Yeah.
Yeah, I like to stay up late. Yeah, and like since I'm driving, I'm like, and I'm slamming Monsters and Red Bulls like on the drive, and then we get there and I got to go to sleep, and I'm just like,
And then does someone else tackle the morning drives, or do you? Okay, I was gonna say
I don't do morning drives.
Yeah, doing the night drives and then sleeping like 3 or 4 hours and then doing the morning would be brutal. Yeah, like when I was on that tour that when we did the last podcast with Enterprise Earth.
Enterprise Earth, yeah.
Travis and Dakota would swap out every other day doing the night drive after the show, and then Gabe is an early riser all the time, regardless of whether he's on tour or home. So Gabe would always wake up at like 6 or 7 in the morning and then take the morning drive. So every once in a while he would sleep next to me. So every once in a while I'd wake up with him and I'd go join him in the front for couple hours, and I'd have a monster and try and stay awake with him, and then I'd just go back to we'd stop for gas, and I'd just go in the back and go back to sleep again.
Go back to slam a monster, go back to bed.
Yeah, or I'd try, but
Yeah.
like we were talking about earlier before the podcast, like I would just be like vibrating from the monster and like kind of in and out of sleep. But
Yeah, you're not actually sleeping,
No.
but you're laying there, you're resting.
you're kind of zoning out.
Yeah, that's what because I don't really like sleep when we're driving, but sometimes I'll lay in my bunk and just like close my eyes and like daydream of being somewhere else.
I mean, you're still like resting.
You're
It's-
resting,
you know.
right? I feel better after I do that. You know, it's not quite napping, I wouldn't say, but yeah.
I can't do the nap thing.
No,
Like I feel
it
worse
kills me.
after I wake up.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. I feel terrible.
Yeah, my
Like,
girlfriend's a big napper, and I'm like,
Oh,
I
yeah?
can't. And she sleeps like 10 hours a night too. Like, and then she'll
And then she'll
she's
take a
like,
nap
I want to go
during the
take a
day?
Yeah, I'm like, how do you do that? Like that's
10 hours
wild.
is too much.
I like 8 to 10 personally, but anything past 10, I feel worse.
Anything after 9 for me. Anything after 9, I hate my life. I'm just exhausted.
That's
From
fair.
too much sleep.
It's different for everybody.
Yeah. I found I function the best on like 6.
6 is so that's a weird thing for me. Is I'm the same way where I'll wake up after 6 hours, but if I don't have to be awake to like I don't have anything to do.
Yeah.
So like, let's say I go to bed at like 2 a.m. and I wake up at 8. And that's 6 hours.
Yeah.
I roll over and I'm like, I'm wide awake right now. I feel great. And I look at the clock and it's 8 a.m. I'm like,
Oh, dude, I still got a couple
it's
hours.
8 a.m., dude.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't
I'm
need
not
to get
doing
up.
anything.
Yeah.
And so I go to bed. I go back to sleep until like 11, and I wake up and I'm like, ugh.
Feel like shit. Dude, I used to do that every single day when I was at
I
home.
still feel okay, but I don't feel as good as when I woke up at 8 o'clock.
Right?
You know?
You should just gotten up. And I think a lot of that plays into sleep cycles and how they work. I find it so strange that 8 hours is like the recommended, because sleep cycles are in hour-and-a-half increments. So 6 hours makes sense because you can divide that by hour and a half. So if you do a full 6 hours, then you had whatever 3 full sleep cycles.
Yeah.
No,
We're
way
getting
more
into the
than
weeds
that.
here, man. I'm a drummer.
4.
I was
4.
going to say I'm a
We
drummer.
count to
I
4.
Yeah, I count to 4.
count
Sometimes
to 4,
Sometimes I
so-
count to 6.
Yeah, this is supposed to be a drum podcast.
Yeah.
We're talking about caffeine and sleeping, and hey, we're talking about touring. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Two things you need on tour: that
caffeine and sleep.
caffeine and sleep, and one of them you can get a lot of, and the other you can't.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and because you can't get a lot of sleep, you need a lot of caffeine.
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, more
Speaking
caffeine,
of,
yeah.
yeah.
Delicious.
I've been trying something new on this tour. We have the awesome Mike Heller.
Mike is amazing.
Yeah, it's an honor to be touring alongside him. And almost immediately he saw me warming up and was like, "You're doing that wrong." So
That's a very Mike thing.
very much so. I'm hoping that I can get sit down with him because we're on the road for another like 6 weeks. So hopefully we'll have a podcast after this one.
I'm sure
with
you guys
Mike.
can find time.
And yeah,
Maybe do one like cram one in after the show or something, or on a day off. Or
day off pre-show, we'll find time.
Yeah.
But I'm doing like his routine. He stands next to me and tells me what to do and tells me when I'm doing stuff wrong.
Yeah,
and
that's
he's
very
like,
Mike.
Yeah, he's like, "Don't worry, like you'll be so comfortable. Like after this week of doing this every day, you're gonna feel great on the kit." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Okay, I'm gonna trust you."
He's a good dude to pick his brain, because
Yeah.
that dude is a machine. Like he's so good.
Insane.
Yeah. Every
Yeah.
once in a while, like we don't talk a ton, but like whenever we do talk, like on Facebook or whatever, it's like hours of like drum nerd
Yeah.
stuff for like a long time, like multiple hours, and then we just won't talk to each other for like months.
Yeah,
and then it'll
that's
be
how it
like-
always goes.
Yeah,
Like any drummer that like I know, but we don't really get a chance to see each other or anything. Like it's always like hours of texting back and forth.
Yeah.
And then we don't talk for like at least like 3-6 weeks or whatever. And
Yeah.
then it's hilarious. But like the way Mike is, like I don't know if it works for me. I'm trying this warm up routine. Feels okay, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna trust him. I'm gonna trust him on
what's he
this.
having you doing?
You know, everything is slow and like small motions, and stick heights can't go over 4 inches. He even wants them 2 inches. You know, like not big swinging and just consistent for an hour.
Jesus.
Well, 45 minutes of that, then 15 minutes of stretches.
Okay.
Yeah, but the whole routine is an hour long.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff. I need to figure out how to warm up my feet a little better. Because I think that's like the biggest thing that I'm struggling with the way he does things compared to how I usually do them is the feet, getting them going. Do you usually carry around like a practice pad for your feet and your hands on tour?
Sometimes. The last bunch of tours I did, I took a kick practice pad with me because I have the Foot Blaster pad.
Right.
And I used the Mike Caputo pedals. And so the way the Foot Blaster pad breaks down, it fits really great in that case.
Oh, okay.
So I was just
Perfect.
taking it with me, but I was just too lazy to set it up every day, even though it takes like literally 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So I would
Sometimes finding space to get
The
a
space
whole
is an
thing
issue
set up.
too,
Like
yeah.
setting up a stool and a practice pad in front of you is super easy, but
Yeah.
then you have pedals and you're like taking up an extra like 2 feet of space all around. Like
and
it's
even
a lot.
you don't even need a stool or anything for like the practice pad. Like I've warmed up so many times in a green room or like somewhere in the venue, just sitting with it on my lap, and then it's worse for me because I have to pull my elbows and my arms back. But it's still better than nothing.
It's still warming up your muscles, and that's the biggest part of warming up.
Yeah.
It's like just making sure your muscles are warm and ready to go.
Yeah.
Like I use it as a form of practice, which the way that Mike has me doing everything, that's not what it's about.
Yeah.
It's not about practicing.
Yeah.
It's about just warming up your body to be able to perform the stuff that you already know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, okay.
That I agree with that.
Yeah,
Like,
it's great, but
the only thing I've ever practiced while warming up was on the Enterprise tour. There was one song that I was not comfortable with at all, and it wasn't the whole song. It was just like 2 sections of it, and so for the first like week or so, I was setting up the kick pad, and I was working on that like before the show because it's one of those things where the first time I play it during the day, it's awful.
Yeah.
So I had to get a couple runs of it out of the way to where I got on stage, and then it's like, okay, I'm gonna play this better now. You know? I just had to mentally get there and also like get it into my muscles. So,
yeah. Well, and that's a little different of a situation too, because you were filling in for that, so the practice time, everything like that, rehearsals weren't as lengthy. So yeah, you needed a little bit of extra time before the show to go over some parts, make sure you're bang on.
Yeah, it was
right?
just it was a difficult warm up process because, like you said, finding space in the venue, and then there was the opening track of that set list was 260. So, and there's a decently long blast section in it.
Yeah.
And so that was rough to like open the set with that.
That's like right now it's similar but not the same, but our opening song is 200 and there in the second verse there's like an extended blast part, and I'm like, that's the hardest part of the set for me right there. Like everything else is like pretty good, whatever. Not the blasts aren't too long, or they're like lower tempoed, and I'm super comfortable with it. But that, if I'm not warmed up, is going to be sloppy as hell.
Well, I mean, at least you know that's the hardest part. So you're just like, you get out of the way right at the beginning of the set, and then the rest is just like cruising.
Yeah, once I'm done, whether I completely botch it or it goes perfect, like that's kind of the decider on how the rest of the set's gonna go.
Yeah.
If I nail it, I'm like, okay, it's gonna be a good set. If I botch it, I'm like, fuck, I gotta like turn this around somehow.
I was so like when I first started touring with Rings of Saturn, like years ago. The first 2 songs were like perfect warm-up songs. So if for whatever reason I couldn't warm up, they were just enough to where they were still hard, but I could, if I really had to, I could do them without warming up.
Yeah.
And so, but the third song was like 270 ripping, like, I don't know if you know the song Senseless Massacre, but that was the third song, and it's just however long that song is of just go, 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 go.
Yeah, relentless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. For us, like the first 2 songs are the most demanding. So I'm like, I need to be like fully warmed up going into this set.
And sometimes I find when bands do that, it's the opposite for everybody else in the band.
Right.
So like, they're like, what are you doing? This is the easy songs. We pick these because they're easy to start with and blah, blah, blah. And then there's always the one person who it's just extra hard for.
Yeah.
And it's usually us.
Always.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And we're outnumbered. So
obviously. Yeah. Honestly, for us, it is like the flow of the set matters and everything like that, but ultimately it's how our vocalist feels about it. She's kind of the decider.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
The voice is fickle.
It can be. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We only have a half-hour set though, so I'm like, does it really matter? I agree, and also like, you know, I agree, but I don't. You know, it's the voice is completely different from. I don't want to say completely different, but no,
I don't know. It's one thing of like, oh, our bodies are tired.
Yeah,
but we could still do it. But it's like if you screw your voice up, you're just.
Oh yeah,
it's just literally not there.
Your instrument is your voice technically. It's not the microphone.
Right.
It's your voice.
It's the equivalent of like breaking a snare head in the middle of the song. Like it's just snare drum's gone. That's it. Just
yeah. You know? What do you do?
Yeah, nothing. You can't make sound with that anymore.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. I don't know. Hit the rack tom instead.
Yeah, honestly, that's what I would do. I would do rack tom, or I would see, depending on how bad the snare head is broken, I would just hit like the edge or something. But
yeah,
because I've
maybe get something out of it.
I've tried. I'm not gonna slander any brands or anything, but I tried a brand that I hadn't played in a while a few years ago. Because I was like, oh, I haven't played this brand in a while. Let me try it.
Yeah.
And I ripped 3 of them out of the collar in a week and a half.
Oh, wow.
But I got lucky because it just separated from the collar, and the hoop of the snare drum held it in.
Okay.
So it was like barely hanging on, and I could play it, but it sounded like it was completely detuned.
Yeah.
So, but I played the whole set multiple times with the bottom 2 or 3 tension rods having no tension at all.
Yeah, nothing.
Just hoping that it doesn't rip even further.
Yeah.
But
I've had that happen too on a snare where the hoop just like completely separates. You're like, oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Great. I didn't notice it till after. And
it
I was
could have
just
been
like, oh, that's why it sounded weird.
Any other drum, I would have been like, okay, this sucks, but it's like,
that's fine.
I'm not panicking. But like, dude, a snare drum?
Yeah.
Like, that's devastating. It was
snare or like a kick skin breaking is just like, well.
Okay, so I use foot blasters, so they're on the pedals.
Yeah,
the triggers are on the pedals.
But still, if you have nothing to stop the beater, you're gonna like.
I can still hit the trigger though.
You can still hit the trigger. I guess
I could simplify what I'm doing to like still get to the trigger, you know.
Yeah, but how are you gonna do doubles?
I'll just
if you have no rebound.
I'll just do singles.
Oh, fancy guy.
I would still like if it's depending on what the parts are, if it's super long and I can't play singles for that long, then I'm going to adjust them. But like there was one point in I was using a different pedal company with different triggers, and one of the triggers, the cables for the triggers, they were proprietary. So I couldn't just, the cable broke and I couldn't just put a new cable in, and I didn't have any extras, so I had no triggers, and I had to play a Rings of Saturn set with no kick triggers. I had to use a kick mic.
You had to use a mic.
Yeah, my sound guy was like, please do not play any doubles during this set. Like, just don't do it. And I was like, okay. So I changed everything to triplets.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was like pounding like as hard as I could.
Yeah.
And
that's why it's always good, even though you use like the foot blasters or anyone uses pedal triggers or anything like that, just carry a Roland TR10, you know, around with you just in case.
I carry one just in case, but luckily I haven't had to. There was also I did a tour last year where the band I was playing for opened the tour or opened the show, and then the headliner would play at the end of the night, obviously.
Yes.
But they would come out for the encore, but the band that I was in would play the encore, and the vocalist for the headliner would do the vocals or help do vocals.
So the rest of the band would go off. And
they had like a little break. And,
okay.
But because of the nature of like the genre shift, because it was like a collaboration song more in the genre that we did.
Yeah.
I brought a Roland trigger and just put it on his kit because we couldn't swap pedals out or anything.
Yeah.
And he used they're like a metalcore band, so he just kick mic all the way.
Yeah.
And it just wouldn't work for the sound, I feel like, for what we were playing.
Yeah.
So I just popped a Roland on there, and I had an extra TM2 that I put back there.
Nice.
So
nice.
It worked out fine. Like I just dialed it in before the first show, and then we just left it there.
Yeah, and then you're laughing.
Yep, every day. Just get back on there and playing his pedals that were the polar opposite of what I like to play.
Oh yeah?
I like mine real tight.
Yeah.
His were just like super loose and heavy and just like, but
with chain drive too?
Chain drive, it was just heavy beaters, loose spring tension. It was
how do you play like that?
I mean, because he just legs it, dude.
Oh yeah,
like, full leg all the time.
Yeah,
which I can do.
We all can do it.
I'm just lazy, man. I like to just feather it. You know?
I find the faster the drummer, the more they're like, yeah, just lazy. I'm lazy. I'm like,
it's wild.
You guys rip so fast.
How that works. People hear it and they're like, you must be so in shape and you must work so hard. And I'm like, I want to do the least amount possible.
Right.
For the best result. Like, I don't want to. If I could, dude, if I could backtrack my drums and just, I would, but I can't.
Yeah, no. Okay, we do have a little bit of integrity.
I do. I have,
darn
my integrity. I wish I didn't have it.
Yeah, that's it. Just get rid of that. And
I can't. I practiced too much when I was younger, and I wasted. Let me rephrase that. I didn't waste my life,
right?
Because I love what I do and I love the people I know, but I spent so long practicing to get as good as I am.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Then what was the point in that, hours and hours over the last decade or two that you've been practicing?
Yeah.
And playing?
Why would I just throw it all on the tracks if I can do it?
Right.
I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah. Even if it's not as tight as the tracks, we still do it.
Yeah. And that's I would rather from a fan perspective, I would rather hear something and know that someone's playing it. Hear the little inconsistencies and the little mistakes.
I love that.
Yeah.
I hate when it's too perfect.
Yeah.
Then I'm like,
I might as well. I'm just gonna sit at home and.
Is it tracks though? That's the sad part is now in my head.
Yeah.
When I hear something and it's perfect, I'm like, that I think that it could potentially be tracks.
Yeah.
If it's kicks or more specifically bass.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, don't even get me started on bass.
Everybody's putting bass on tracks, but there's a bass player on the stage.
Yes. That bothers me so much. Like, because it looks cooler. And it's like, okay, I get it. It looks cooler. But, like, dude, you have a bass player on stage. Just have him play bass.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that hard. I don't want to say it's not that hard. I'm not.
The
not,
bass player should know how to play bass, though.
Yeah.
Right?
And, like, in my opinion, if you're putting, like, yes, you should put on a good show. And, you know, but you should be able to put on a good show and play.
Yes.
Like, play live. If you can't,
that's not a difficult concept to have.
You're a musician. Like,
yeah,
I'm
that's what we
going to
do.
see the band. I'm going to see the band play the songs.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm not going to see a laptop. I might as well stay at home. And that being said, I have nothing wrong with, like, nothing against using backing tracks to, like, supplement things.
And enhance.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, I get it. You're not going to hire a whole orchestra to follow you around.
Right.
And, you know.
But it sounds sick if it's in the tracks.
Yeah. Or, like,
right?
you can't afford to bring a keyboard player with you or something. But, like, don't, like, have someone on stage who's doing the thing and then track it all.
Right.
But,
and, like, in our case, too, the guy that does all of our orchestrations, he plays in a touring band. Like, he's not available to come play keyboards for us, and we wouldn't want anyone who wasn't the guy who wrote the stuff.
Yeah.
And the stuff he wrote is just like, you can't play on one keyboard.
well, that's
like,
kind of also, like, Entheos does the same thing with bass now, where, like, they have Evan Brewer record all their bass.
Yeah.
And they're just like, we don't want anybody but Evan, so we're just going to backtrack the bass.
Yeah.
And they just don't take a bass player. They just have two guitars, drums, vocals.
And that's the thing. Like, if you can't take a guy out, then okay, put it on tracks.
Yeah.
You know, that's fine.
I was actually having this thought last night where I was like, oh, you know, what if, you know, I get sick or something? Like, I'm going to play a show as long as I can move.
Yeah.
I'm going to play the show. But, like, if I physically cannot get out of bed or like, it's just something, I get hurt or whatever, then I would be like, yeah, backtrack drums, but I'm not going to sit up there and pretend to play drums. Like, just play to, like, if your sound guy records the sets every day, they have the tracks, like, you can do that, you know?
Exactly.
So
it is
assuming
live,
the band is playing to a click. And all
it
that.
is a live performance of your drums.
It's just from, like, a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like you're fucking throwing up, dying, like in the bus or whatever. Like, that there's a different story if you physically can't play, you know? And that shit happens. Like, you get deathly ill on tour sometimes. So
it happened in
knock on wood.
Oh yeah,
Jesus. Yeah,
because you still got a bunch of weeks to go.
Yeah, 6 more weeks.
Oh boy,
6 more weeks of this.
How many are you in right now?
We're done week 1.
Okay,
I think we're heading into week 2.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, you still gotta.
It's a long haul. We still got to go all across the south, up the west, all the way across. Do a loop through Canada, then back down.
No, I mean, with the exception of, like, I always get sick on tour because of, like, the change of climates and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think I kind of expect that for everyone. Everyone's going to get, like, the ick at some point.
You always do.
Yeah.
Right?
But
it's how you combat it. Like, you got to catch it right away. We all have, like, the emergency, like, vitamin C packets, and we have, like, different ones as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, as soon as somebody's like, oh shit, I'm like sneezing or coughing, it's like, okay, everybody take one.
Yeah.
Like, let's not have this defeat us this early on.
That's, dude, the first thing I do when I go out on a tour is, because a lot of the times I have to fly out to where I'm going, and so I try not to take a ton of stuff, but we make a Walmart run, and then I just get, like, Dayquil, NyQuil, the vitamin C pills and, like, all the stuff, and just I have like a bag just like a pharmacy bag of just stuff.
And electrolytes.
Yeah.
That's a big one too. So especially if you're in the summer.
Yeah.
Right? Because like going through Texas, like Phoenix, like anywhere in the South, Florida too.
Florida's
like
brutal.
You can get dehydrated so quickly that you don't even know.
Dude, I've gone through Florida in October and been like dying.
Yeah.
Like it's just so hot in a lot of places in the South that you need to stay hydrated. It's absolutely essential.
Yeah, because even I know I went through Phoenix one time and it was like 115 degrees, and you can feel that you're sweating, but you're not wet because it evaporates as soon as it gets out into the air.
It's kind of dry out there.
Yeah, it's like it's just your skin's dry, but it's like you're constantly sweating.
Yeah,
so you,
and then you
always
get in
have to
like
be hydrating
in the venues there, and they're just deathly hot, and like you're playing and you're sweating even more. And there's people in there, and it's just heavy and just. Ugh.
Sometimes though, I find the venues are too cold, so you're going from like heavy AC out into like wicked heat, and like all day you're just in and out of the venue, so your body doesn't know what the fuck's going on, and then that's how you get sick.
For me, it's the venue is too cold during the day, and then during the show it's way too hot. Like, have you played at the Nile before?
No, I don't think so.
It's so their air conditioning's fine, like it works during the day, and then if you get like 1,000 people in there, dude, it is so hot. Like, I've never played a show there where I haven't wanted to like keel over and die afterwards. Yeah. Like even playing like first or second, it's just brutally hot.
Are you a fan guy? Do you like fans blowing on you?
Oh yeah, I went to Harbor Freight and I got one of those like red floor blower fans.
Oh, nice.
And it has 2 outlets on it. It's like $60 or something. And so I power. It's basically I use it as an extension cord.
Yeah, because then you can power your module and
I power my
like
mixer
that.
and my module off of it, and it's sick. Like and I get a nice breeze. So, and I never have to take it off low setting because it just works so well.
It's just perfect.
Yeah, they're great.
I've never been a fan of fans. I like to sweat.
I will do it if I'm sick. I won't turn the fan on.
Okay.
Because I'll sweat it out. I want to sweat it out.
You want to sweat it out, yeah. Because especially doing a half-hour set too, like I find I'm barely even sweating by the end of it. Like I'm like I'm a little damp, but it's like, you know, I like to get a sweat going, you know, really like feel it. Yeah. So I always shut off the fan because Mike and Larry, the other drummer on the run, love fans. They need them. They're like that every time. And I'm like, no, shut it off, throw it like behind the cab, like get it out of here.
Yeah, for me, it's if I'm sick or like some days I'll just feel like sweating. So like there was a one of the last tours I did, we played I forget the name of the place, but it's in Oregon. It's in Portland. Anyway, that place is always like super hot, and that day I was just like, I know this venue is really hot all the time. I'm just going to embrace it. And so I set the fan up and I plugged all my stuff in, but I didn't turn it on. Oh, okay. I was like, I'm going to do this to myself today on purpose. Yeah. And dude, I felt so great.
You feel good after a good sweat.
And it was wet outside because it's, Portland. So like I went out and it was like a little drizzly and I was like, okay, this feels good,
It's rained so much on this tour. I'm so happy to be in Texas.
It rained yesterday here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Dude, it rained, I swear, for 20 hours when we were in Florida. Like straight from the time we got up to the time we like went to bed, like it was just torrential downpour like almost all day.
That's brutal.
Day 1 of the tour. We're like, are you kidding me?
It was, dude, you missed the rain here by like I said, it rained yesterday. Yeah. Houston's weird because like when it rains, it doesn't drizzle or anything. It just turns on and it just goes and then it just turns off.
Oh, okay.
So yesterday it did that for like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. But like a couple of nights ago, dude, all night, it was just downpouring all night. And then during the day, off and on. Like, so you missed it. You got real lucky.
Yeah, it'll just downpour around 2:00 when we load in. It'll just come out of nowhere, just start pouring. Love
that's
it. How it
Especially
works with
now
us.
when the guy was like, "Oh yeah, this back door's not working right here. You have to take everything around the front."
Yeah, we're like, oh, great.
Yeah, at least there's no stairs.
Yeah, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Hey, we're looking at all the wins
It's the
today.
bright side.
That's the bright side of things. Yeah, yeah, man. All right, let's.
Yeah, we've been in the weeds for a little bit.
We've been in the weeds here. Let's talk some drums. You know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about how you got hooked up doing some live session work with Jobforacowboy.
Oh yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, that's like when I saw that, I was like, "That's the coolest shit I've ever seen, dude."
Yeah, it was coming for a while. Okay, so Johnny, the vocalist, and I follow each other on social media for years. I don't even know how we found each other, but or who followed who first or whatever. But when years ago I heard that JFAC was doing like a new album.
Yeah.
And I was just hearing rumblings from people. I didn't have any hard confirmation. So I messaged him and I was like, hey, I heard that you guys may be doing something. So if I'm not doing anything, I don't know if you guys have a drummer, because I know you had a different drummer for the last album and blah, blah, blah. I was like, I'll play shows for you guys if you want. And Johnny was like, don't worry. We know who you are. Like, we'll let you know. And I was like, okay.
I'm throwing.
I was like, I'll just let you know.
Yeah.
And there would be times where like I'd post stuff and he would like reply to my stories or something, and just things small things back and forth. Yeah. And then I was on tour and I saw that they posted that they were doing the Blue Ridge Rock Festival. This was in like February 2023. And I was like, there's no way this is happening. Like, this is crazy that they're actually making a comeback and it's real. So I messaged him and I was like, I'm not asking to play for you. That was my opener. I was like, I'm not asking to play for you. I'm legitimately asking you as a fan, who is playing drums for you? And he goes, we have no idea. And I was like, okay, well, in that case,
you're like, can I send you an audition?
I was like, I'm down. Yeah. And he was like, we'll think about it. Like, we'll just hang on. And I was like, okay, I'm just letting you know. Yeah. And a few months later, like May or June, I messaged him and I was like, hey, I'm free for a while. Like, my schedule's totally open.
Yeah.
So, and he goes, oh, really? And he sends me a song and he goes, learn this. And I go, okay. And I was at my girlfriend's house at the time and I didn't have a drum kit. I just had a kick pad and a practice pad. So I learned the whole song on that. And I sent him like cell phone videos of me playing it on a pad. And, which is like, it's a fucking pad. Like, it just sounds like shit. But I was like, I'm going home in like 2 weeks if you can, like, the door's open on the bus that we're sitting in, by the way, so there's flies
flies are coming in now.
But I was like, if you can wait 2 weeks, I will send you a video of this when I get home. And he was like, okay. Get home the very next day, I recorded, I sent him a video, and then I just start learning like all the hits basically without him even asking. I'm just
of
like
course.
that's
what you do.
Literally every other day, I'm just sending him videos, and he was like, "Okay, cool, like you got it." I was like, "Sick."
Yeah. Well, it makes their job easy too. It's just like, oh, like this guy knows everything.
Yeah.
Cool.
And even then, like, I didn't know it all already.
Yeah.
I'm just a really quick learner. So, like, I can learn a song, assuming it's nothing, like, insanely ridiculous, like, super mathematical, just craziness. I can learn a song in, like, 2 hours. And then so my process is I just listen to the song and I learn it piece by piece. and then I make it to where I can kind of get from A to Z.
Yeah.
And then I sleep on it, and then the next day I record a video and I send it. So I was like every 2 to 3 days I was sending them a new song.
Yeah.
So
which is like, it's crazy to think about.
I mean, it's taxing on the brain, but
it
like
is. You got to forget other songs.
Yeah.
You know, like any song by Rings, Brand,
God Forever.
God, yeah, put it in the bin, yeah.
But it was definitely a cool experience. Like, I mean, obviously, I did that because I was like, I want this gig. Like, I'm going to take the initiative and learn everything. There was even what's funny is the song he sent me was a song we didn't like initially. We didn't even play that song. So I learned it and I was practicing it for the set, and then we just never played it. So I was like, okay, dump that one out of my brain.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, learn some new ones. Yeah,
but yeah, that was very, very cool. It was like a bucket list level thing because I grew up listening to that band. They were
obviously,
like one of my stepping stone bands.
Yeah,
so.
I remember the first time, like where I was in the room, who was there the first time I saw the video for Entombment.
Yeah,
like I'll never forget that.
See, mine it wasn't the Entombment video. It was this is so dumb. It was the SpongeBob video of Knee Deep. Yeah. And I was in my friend's basement in New York, and I was just like on YouTube, and I saw it, and I was like, this is amazing. I love this. And I was like 14, 15 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That video really made the rounds. Like it helped them like huge.
The same guy who made that video made another SpongeBob video with Black Dahlia Murder. It was Funeral Thirst.
Oh,
and that's how I found Black Dahlia Murder.
Oh,
was
shit.
I went on that guy's channel, saw he made another one, and I listened to it, and I was like, this is great.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then you just started learning blast beats the next day.
Yeah. And my parents started hating my playing because they thought it was all noise.
Yeah. Exactly.
When I was playing all Dream Theater stuff and all the progressive groovy stuff, they were like, oh, it's great. I can listen to him play all day.
Yeah, it's
and
musical.
They start hearing fucking ba 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 ba. They're like, stop it. Stop doing that.
That's not music.
Sounds like shit.
Yeah. Well, on its own, maybe.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Even then, they would. Dude, I drove my dad somewhere a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And he gets in the car, and I still listen to music on an iPod. So I pull out my iPod, and he's like, "Don't tell me you're gonna put that death metal shit on while we're driving." And I was like, "Okay, I'll just put my iPod away then, and just." Put the radio on.
I guess not. Yeah, we'll listen to top 40 hits. That's where that is.
90s on 9 or 80s on 8.
80s on 8.
The XM stations.
Yeah. I haven't listened to the radio in years. I don't even know what that's about.
It's just I have satellite radio in my car.
Yeah.
So if someone's in the car and they don't like blast beats, it goes on 70s on 7, 80s on 8, 90s on 9, Pop 2K. So
I listen to enough blast beats, but like on the long drives and stuff, especially at night, I either go like pop punk, country, or straight up like 90s, early 2000s pop music.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I just want death metal all the time. Like
death metal,
not all the time, but
blast beats though make me tired.
I could see how that would, because it's like a repetitive thing.
Yeah.
It's like white noise.
Yeah, like if I listen to Origin, out. And like if I'm tired, that's it.
They're not boring. It's just a wall of sound that like kind of puts you in a trance.
Yeah, like blast beats it's like my happy place listening to it, right? So it's just like, oh, that's nice. I just fall asleep.
Most of the time too now, like the only time I listen to music is when I'm driving.
Yeah.
Or if I'm learning I have to learn stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
So but even then, like when I'm driving, I listen to a podcast or something. Like if I'm making a long drive.
If I'm by myself, podcast. The only problem is on tour, listening to a podcast with somebody is annoying as shit.
Yeah.
Right?
You both have to be into it.
Yeah. And then there's like no talking about it though.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to miss something.
Yeah.
So it's like, I just like listening to a podcast and you feel like you're just in the conversation with them.
Well, so I do this thing, my girlfriend and I, she lives in North Carolina and I live in Texas. So we'll have like these like video date nights, and we have this series that we watch on YouTube where they just read Reddit stories.
Okay.
wild Reddit stories.
Yeah.
And
I got a couple to post on Reddit. I think
Oh, the story?
I got a couple stories to post on Reddit
dude,
now.
we
so.
could absolutely, as touring musicians, like
Oh yeah.
the stories we could tell that we would need.
Well, I got one. I'll tell you after the podcast.
Yeah, we would
though.
need-
It's not from tour, but
Okay.
yeah.
We would need like alt accounts to post them because like we can't
yeah.
post those on main. Like no way.
No.
But so we watch this series every week, and we'll stop and like talk about what's happening.
Yeah.
So, but it's because we both are interested in it. It's you know.
And then you straight up just pause it and then have a conversation and then start it up back
So
up.
I can imagine if you're driving and you're listening to a podcast you want to listen to, and the other person doesn't give a shit, they don't want to talk about it.
Right.
They're just like, they're bored.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I know me and our bass player, Chris, listen to some of the same podcasts. So we might be able to do it, but we're both on the same page where it's like, I'll listen to it on my own.
Yeah.
That's fine.
That's fair.
You know, we just bump tunes. And I only do night drives, and I just want to like sing songs.
Yeah.
Literally, we just have a dance party up front. If I'm singing and everything like that, it keeps me wide awake.
That's a good way to stay awake.
Yeah. We're got like Sir Mix-a-Lot and like thong songs, good, you know, like
Cisco,
all that.
dude.
Cisco, yeah. Britney's always on there. Got some ABBA, you know, all the
good
classics.
stuff.
Yeah.
That is,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah,
That's a
dude.
good idea.
I found a couple pop playlists, like 90s, early 2000s pop playlists that are good. I've only had to skip like 1-2 songs maybe because I'm like, that's not the vibe.
It's actually wild how much good music is like from like 90s, early 2000s era. It's just so catchy, but it's still, there's just still substance there. And it like,
and it's not just because that's what we grew up with.
No,
you know,
I mean,
like,
yes,
the
I know.
nostalgia factor is kind of there, but
Yeah.
also it's really fucking good.
I also like those playlists because you'll find songs that are like embedded real deep in your brain that you just completely forgot about.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And you hear it and you're like, I haven't heard this song in 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
And
there was a Boys to Men song that popped up, and I knew like every single word. I was like, I haven't heard this in like, at least 15, maybe 20 years.
Yeah.
I still know every single word.
What's funny is a lot of those people who track drums on those records are insane. Like if they have live drums on them.
And back in the day, most of those were like you're listening to. It's like, that's a live drummer.
Yeah,
you know,
it sounds so good.
Oh, it's
like,
the best.
Even like my favorite one to reference is like Two Princes by Spin Doctors.
Yeah,
dude, that snare's popping.
Oh yeah,
it's just it's the intro to the song, and it's just so sick.
Yeah,
it's just the tight, like that's my perfect snare sound.
Yeah. The 80s snare is always good too. I think we were listening to some Michael Jackson the other day, and it's just like, God damn, that snare is tight.
The snare's popping, and it's just pocket drumming. Like stuff
dude.
like Sugarfoot did all the live shows with him, and it's just that dude is so solid.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
They're crazy. All the drummers back in the day, because there was money in it too, right? So you could get really good musicians.
Yeah, and they're kind of grandfathered in now, but like with like royalties and all that stuff. Now we have to rough it,
make no money, actually lose money going on tour.
Yeah.
So if any of your favorite bands are coming through city, go support them.
Yeah, go buy merch.
Go buy merch so we can eat.
That is literally tip the people at the table, and you know, buy merch.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
That is our food money.
That's it, man. Like, luckily we do have some amazing fans. Because telling you earlier, fan came by, just dropped off a ton of food, like snacks. We got chips, popcorn, like granola bars, like all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
For us, it's amazing when people do
usually
that.
I put out like SOSs. Like I remember I put out one for I had a bunch of tension rods fall out the bottom of my snare, and like people brought me tension rods to put back in. I was like, yes, you saved me.
You're the best.
That's amazing.
Because if you have to get to the venue, usually you're somewhat rushed, and then you got to load in, and then you have to get set up, and then you have to go out to a music store or something somewhere in there. It's like,
it was in Chicago when that happened too,
God.
and it was, the traffic is insane there. So I looked, And it was just to go a couple blocks was like a half hour, and I was like, it was further than that, obviously. So I was like, it's not happening. No way.
That's the worst, man. Like once I get to the venue, I don't want to leave. I'll walk. Somewhere.
I want to be able to walk somewhere.
That's it. I'm not getting in an Uber. I've always said it because some of the guys like will hop in an Uber, go downtown because a lot of the venues we play are outside of downtown. They want to see the city. I don't know if any of the guys have ever been to Houston before, so they want to check it out. But I'm like, if I have to Uber, I'm not going.
Yeah,
that's it. That's my
Houston
that's my
too.
line.
Houston's huge, so you kind of have to. But
yeah, you have to. So I'm like, you know what? I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good. I'm gonna stay here. I got so much work to do all the time.
Yeah.
So
you edit the podcast. And,
I do all this on the road.
You said you were stage managing, like, and doing loadings and stuff.
Yeah,
so.
Might have to do some extra online work and stuff like that. And plus, I'm still working my other job as well while I'm on the road. So it's like, it's a lot, man.
Yeah,
it's a lot. I'm glad that we got time today to sit down and do this, though.
Yeah,
you know, this has been a lot of fun, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we went so far into the weeds. Like
we barely talked about drums.
We can talk more about drums, and you could just like.
Okay, what do you want to talk about?
More about the JFAC gig if you want. Like,
we can do that, but also I want to know why are you so in love with Whataburger?
Oh man,
that's like been on my mind
that's
for
a good
months.
Question. So. Lately, my relationship with Whataburger has been a little strained because it's gotten very expensive. Sorry, there's a gnat flying around. It's gotten very expensive, but everything has gotten expensive.
Yes.
But it was mainly so I grew up in New York. There's no Whataburger in New York.
Right.
So I moved to Texas when I'm 16. My best friend moves around the corner from me. So, and our families did that on purpose.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so we only know each other. So we were just playing video games until like the wee hours of the morning. The Whataburger was open 24 hours. So we'd be playing Xbox together and we'd just be like, I'm hungry. And be like, let's go to Whataburger. So we drive around the corner, pick each other up, and then just drive to Whataburger almost every single night.
Oh, wow.
And so it's kind of like a nostalgia thing for me. Like, I do like it. It's good. Like, it tastes good.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's a lot of nostalgia for me. Like, just they serve breakfast from 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. So,
holy shit.
Yeah, we were just awake at 3, 4 in the morning, and we would just go get breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sick. Okay, so yeah, it is like a thing from back in like your teen years or childhood, if you will.
Yeah, and then all the merch, like the Whataburger merch that I have, that's all that's all my girlfriend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like for my birthday one year, she like just found their online store and just went ham one year and just sent me a package full of merch.
Yeah, it's in the background of all your videos. Yeah. I know people are talking about it.
That's part of it. Is like I know people talk like every single video. I put the blanket in the background once, and everyone was talking about it, and I was like, well, I have to do this all the time now.
Oh yeah, now you got the track pants and everything.
I have a shirt that I actually wore like 2 days ago. I have socks that I don't wear very often.
Yeah,
I gotta they make Whataburger like slip-on shoes, like sneakers.
Shit.
Yeah, so I gotta get those.
You definitely gotta get those. Yeah,
I need the full outfit.
I'm going ham on the Buc-ee's merch on this tour.
You gotta, dude.
Yeah, last tour I got this same shirt, but in Alabama.
Okay.
So it just says Alabama here. Yeah. Then I got Georgia. I got to get a Texas one.
Yeah.
There's Buc-ee's in 9 states. Mm. I want to collect them all. So it's this exact same shirt, but it's just the state name is different. So just have 9 of the same shirt. Yeah, that's my goal.
I feel like I can't do that because I live in Texas.
Yeah.
So I feels kind of like blasphemous to wear another state's Buc-ee's shirt,
Yeah, I get that.
But I'm with you. I collect Buc-ee's stuff. There was one time I watched The House while my parents were gone, like on a vacation or something, and they thanked me by buying me a Buc-ee's onesie.
What?
So I have like it's a full on like beaver onesie with like,
our bass player bought one last tour.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I have one of those
sick.
in my closet, just chilling. Like it's so comfortable, dude.
That's so sick. Yeah. I found my big thing was I wanted to get this shirt in Georgia, and then I also got sandals, like slides.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a Bucky's logo all over it. So
yeah.
I'm like,
well,
all right.
like the Whataburger slip-ons, they also have Bucky's slip-ons. So
Oh,
yeah, I want to get those, dude. I have Bucky's bathing suits. I have a bunch of different shirts.
Yeah.
I have pants. I like beanies. Just
You name it, yeah.
Everything.
Bucky's goes ham on the merch. It's like
People-
half the store is
People don't get it. Like,
Yeah.
if you're ever like near a Bucky's, just go. Like,
Let's go.
yeah, they're great, and like the food's good.
Yeah.
you know, the
I will admit, never ate at Bucky's. The only thing I've ever bought there was merch and cigarettes.
Okay,
That's it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, but they make, dude, if you like beef jerky, all their beef jerky is, they have like so many different flavors of beef jerky.
I see. I'm vegan, so I'm like, the best things about Bucky's is all the different meats that they have and
the
stuff like
brisket
that.
sandwiches,
Yeah.
pulled pork sandwiches,
Yeah.
like, man.
Yeah, that's all I've heard is how good it is. I'm like, I'm sure it's amazing, and they do have some vegan stuff there.
Yeah.
prepared. But I'm like,
Are the beaver nuggets vegan? Do you know? They're like the little.
They're not made out of beavers.
No, they're just
Oh.
called beaver nuggets.
Oh, I don't know. I'll have to look into it. I thought for sure it was
They're
like
good, though.
beaver meat.
No,
You know, we're
it's not
Canadian.
beaver meat.
Like, that wouldn't be far off. You know.
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Oh man. So how was it the first time playing with Jay?
And we're back.
And we're back. Yeah, playing.
So-
We play drums.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
This is a drum podcast.
Yeah.
So-
Dude, the last couple episodes have kind of like gone off
They
the
just
rails
veer off,
everywhere. Yeah. We're doing whatever
that's-
we
I
want
mean,
now.
I get it. Like you're just a bunch of friends shooting the shit, and like
That's it.
we don't
right?
see each other that often. Like,
Yeah, we already did one that we talked all about practicing and pedal settings and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and now it's like, no, we're just
So,
shooting the shit.
The JFAC thing.
Yeah, we'll end on this and we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
All right.
So we only played. Okay. As far as most people know, we only played one show, which was Blue Ridge Rock Fest.
Right.
We had band practice for like 4 days before that, and
Yeah,
it was
heavy rehearsals.
Oh, it was brutal, man. Like, so I spent, before I flew out to band practice, I was at home and I spent a week filming. I did a cover of Africa by Toto with John Matos from Abiotic and Eddie Hermida from Suicide Silence.
Nice.
So we did a cover and we filmed a music video for it, where it's like a parody of the original. So, but I had to set up a green screen and everything and record it. So I was filming that, and then I had to practice on my own for JFAC. I got tendonitis in my foot from playing so much, and then, but I couldn't stop.
Yeah, you
And
have
so
to. You have to keep going.
We had practice in Virginia. So
Okay.
we go to Virginia. We have 4 days of band practice. It was like 4 to 6 hours a day, like just without stopping.
Yeah, so you're just dying.
Yeah, and then the fourth day, we actually played a show in this warehouse as like a warm-up show.
Yeah.
And it was brutally hot, dude. That was one of the like no fan shows.
Oh, yeah?
But that was like, there was no fan. Like,
Yeah,
it's not
you
like I
didn't
had
have your
I
little
didn't have
red
an
guy.
option. No,
Yeah.
it was just, you're in this warehouse. It rained all day, so it was super humid.
Yeah.
Just brutally hot. And then we also practiced that morning. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's nonstop playing.
Yeah. So then we drove a couple hours to the other part of Virginia where we went to Blue Ridge. And, dude, it was so sick. I had never been more prepared for something in, like, because a lot of other bands I've played for, we practice, like, twice.
Yeah.
And then...
And
we
you just run the set. Everybody knows their parts. Da da da.
Yeah.
Like song.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
So with the JFAC thing, these guys hadn't been in the same room with each other since like 2016.
Yeah.
So it was basically, I'm sitting there, I set everything up, and it's whatever they wanted to work on. They told me, play this song, and I would go, okay, and then we just play this part, okay, and then just, let them work out what they needed to work out.
Yeah, you were just there to be there, metronome.
Yes, I am literally the glorified metronome.
Yeah.
But it turned out great. Like, the festival was insane. It was the one day of the fest that actually didn't get canceled. I don't know if you saw that.
Right, that
whole
was
debacle.
a disaster that year. Yeah, because I talked to Sam from Conquer Divide shortly after that, and I think she played on the same day as you guys.
And that was so... It was just so disorganized and just wild that, like, Conquer Divide played the same day, so I wanted to see Sam. I didn't see Sam at all. Electric Cowboy played because they were on tour together. I wanted to see Tank. Couldn't see him because he was being jerked around by the... Oh, yeah.
Like, he was TMing, so it's like...
Yeah.
Good luck.
There was so many people...
Born of Sacrifice? Or no, Born of Osiris.
Were they
the same day? I know they played there as well.
I don't think they were. I know Body Snatcher played like the day before us.
Yeah?
They had to wait.
Okay.
Body Snatcher had to like wait 4 hours in their vehicle to like get in.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was insane.
That's wild.
Yeah. But anyway, the show, like, when we played was great. Like, everyone was so stoked because it was JFAC's first show since 2016.
Oh, yeah.
And even then, that 2016 show, it was one show at a festival. It was at Modified Ghost in Canada.
Yeah.
And before that, they hadn't played since 2013. So
right. They didn't really do anything to support Sun Eater.
No, they put it out and then just fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I saw them the tour before they did that record.
Yeah.
I know that. But yeah, that was probably like the last, at least North American thing that they did.
Yeah. But it was a great experience, man. Like, all the guys are super nice. Great musicians, obviously. Nick plays for, like, Havoc and Cephalic Carnage, the bass player.
Mm-hmm.
Super good. Like, and I don't know. It was weird. I felt a lot of pressure, like, because I had played Blue Ridge the past 2 years before with Brand of Sacrifice.
Right.
But it was like a smaller side stage, maybe like 1,000 people or something, which is like still a lot of people.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
This was like one of the bigger. Like, we had the same slot that Cannibal Corpse had the year before. Like, it was that kind of thing. And
like, this was a big deal.
Yeah.
And I will say that this is like even bigger now than it would have been like 3-4 years ago. Not just because of the time that they took off, but because of how big deathcore has gotten in the last 3-4 years.
Thanks, Lorna Shore.
Yeah, you guys ruled. Yeah, but like just in general, like fucking everybody loves deathcore. Then they're going back and looking at all these bands that kind of form the genre, and JFAC's definitely one of them.
Yeah,
right.
And it's so wild considering they literally only have 7 deathcore songs.
Really, realistically,
but they made such an impact.
Yeah, dude.
It's just legendary.
Yeah.
Like,
I know a lot of people didn't follow them after the Doom EP because they just wanted breakdowns and stuff. But, dude, I was there whole step of the way. I own every single record.
Yeah, same.
You know?
I loved all of it. I was always, like, I liked deathcore and death metal. So, like, when Genesis came out, it was, like, a very welcome change for me. Like, I was cool with both.
Oh, dude, when Rune Nation came out, I was like, God damn. Yeah. They stepped it up. Yeah. Like, this is sick.
More techie, just...
Yeah. Like, heavier, like, somehow.
Faster.
Like, it was faster. A lot more of those, like, skank beats. Like, that. It was so sick.
John's drumming on those records, too. That's a big reason why I like... I don't want to say... editing is okay. Like, you can move, like, nudge things around and whatever. Like, fix things as long as it's, like, within the realm of, like, you can do it. But... Dude, you can listen to those records like Demonocracy and Ruination, and you can tell that there's like, you can hear him floating a little bit, and like it's he's
not gridded.
No, I mean, it's like, played to a click, but it's not gridded.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just sounds natural, and I like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he definitely had like his own style and his own feel, and you can tell when it's like John Rice playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's funny, this is wild. That warehouse show that we played, John Rice's band played the show.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So we played right before them, and I had to play his parts in front of him. And
He's just standing side stage, just staring at you.
I knew he was somewhere. I couldn't see him, but I knew he was somewhere.
Yeah.
And like he came up afterwards and was like, "Dude, that was amazing. That was great." Like, and I was more nervous to play that show than I was to play the festival the next day.
Right.
Because, like, I had a bunch of friends, like, you know, yes, all my friends were on side stage, like, for the fest that were, like, super stoked to see Job. They were stoked to see Job.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously they were excited for me, but they were just excited for the whole experience, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I had to play this dude's parts in front of him.
That's nerve-wracking.
Yeah, but that was what's funny is I think I played that show better than I played the fest.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, which was wild.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have put money on that. Like,
well, festivals are always difficult too, compared to like a more like club show experience.
Yeah.
Like there's so many moving parts, and especially with the way Blue Ridge was, I'm sure that it wasn't like comfortable for everyone.
yeah, I mean, I was just happy that we had a green room with air conditioning.
That's always nice.
Yeah.
Dude, I played Metal Days a couple of years back, and the green room was a black tent that was 5 times hotter than it was outside.
But yeah, it's black. It's absorbing all the sun.
Like it was literally the worst thing in the world. I was like, I'm just going to go stand outside.
Yeah.
It's fine. I don't need to
There's
be
a
back
breeze,
here.
maybe.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
I'll get changed just so nobody needs to like see me naked. But like then I'm just going to walk outside.
Yeah, I mean, even though Blue Ridge was like kind of a shit show overall, like the experience was still cool because like I said, everyone like was stoked to see it. Like from the fans to like all the bands that played that day were lined up like watching. Lorna's on the side watching, like all the Angel Maker guys were there because Angel Maker played that day, and those are the homies. Like everyone was just so stoked to see it, and just the fact that the vibe between everybody that played that day was friends on that stage.
Yeah.
So that was definitely that helped with the shittiness of what else was going on.
What else happened at that
because we
year
were
at the
all
fest?
just happy to see each other.
Yeah, that's so good to hear, and like I can just like see it, and like everybody just so pumped for Job to be playing, and like all these guys that like Lorna and even Angel Maker, like they're all on the up and up, and then them going back like this is the band that got me into why we do this. You know,
there's
like,
you could see like there's a couple videos from the fest that fans filmed from the crowd, and you could see people like on the Angel Maker guys on the side of the stage, and like they're just like, oh my God, just like losing their minds because we're playing songs that they never thought they'd be able to hear live again. And, you know, so, and I don't know, I'm just very thankful to be able to have done that. Like, and I hope and I feel like I did the parts justice. So
yeah,
that was cool.
Okay, so when's Jobforacowboy going back on tour?
Oh man, I have no idea.
Like, you haven't gotten the call yet?
I mean, tour is, dude, they have so many offers, obviously.
I imagine.
And the tours are just not going to be, if they do tour, it's not going to be anything ridiculously long because they're all, Johnny's talked about this at length, like in his interviews, but he works in IT and he's got 2 kids and a wife, and Tony, the guitar player, moved to Ireland and got his medical doctorate. So he's a doctor now, and he's got a wife, and he lives out of the country.
Yeah.
Nick, the bass player, plays for Cephalic Carnage and Havoc and a bunch of other bands, so he's always busy.
He's always busy as hell.
Yeah, Al does Goratory and